Welcome. I am Crimey Queen, and if you are joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. So, the intro on this presentation is not long at all. It's very much to the point, I am hoping. And I'm just recalling saying this is where we have fun. And spirits seem to have a sense of fun as well that I had not taken into consideration. Of course, as I say, I'm doing this YouTube channel because I enjoy doing it and I'm having fun. So I have just posted a presentation on Bareface, being Bareface by Crimey Queen. And this is really one of the biggest jokes, laughs, because I had this experience, and I would advise that you watch the first part of this Bareface if you are interested in the subject, and I feel it is very important message. That I was feeling overwhelmed, and this had derived from, of course, a sense of elation. I felt elated. I felt okay. I was doing my makeup and I was in the mirror feeling fine. And all of a sudden I had this overwhelming sensation and vibration over me. And as usual, as I say, I learned to listen to those messages now. And there I was asking Spirit, well, what is it? Of course, there are times I get a message so profound, so deep, so certain that it does not need question, and all it needs is action. And of course, there are times, because I like to have certainty, a bit like the doubting Thomas. And of course, and this is perhaps why I love numerology, because Spirit is able to confirm certain answers through the numbers for me. This is my mode of communication, communicating effectively with Spirit. So if it were a dream, for instance, and I dreamt of birds, I probably would take in consideration the numerical value for birds as well to get the fuller essence of the dream. Now, oftentimes I can tell what my dreams mean anyway, because I do pay attention. But however, back to today's scenario where I felt overwhelmed and being in the mirror, and I was asking Spirit, well, what is it? Am I meant to do, be, or have, or say? And the answer was that, of course, looking at my face and feeling that, okay, my makeup is just good, I'm ready to do these presentations. And really, Spirit was really guiding me that I needed to strip my face bare of the makeup. When I got this message, it's like sometimes it feels so shocking. This is where I use my pendulum as well, my ankh, which is hair. Now, of course, this has been guided in a certain way. When I say instructed, of course, we can see we have the ring, and everything has been spiritually orchestrated in my life, that I've seen how over time, how the synchronicities and revelation transpire. And so there are times, no matter how silly an idea may seem, but I know there is a truth that I need to follow that path. So it is the sort of synchronicities that happen in my life that has got me to be on this path right now, and I'm honoring this path. And because I'm honoring this path, I went through a process, as you may see in the first Bareface. I was almost in tears. I could feel the lump in my throat, and I realized the attachment that I had with covering my face with a bit of foundation. As I said, it wasn't heavy, it was a little. Now, I was also thinking, but foundation has a sort of, and if you get a good one with the minerals and more a natural thing to it, why would I need to really strip my face bare? And that was the message that I was getting. I had to strip my face bare. I had to take the wipes and just wipe everything off my face, wipe the lipstick off my face. And there I was, bareface. And Spirit is saying, well, you have to do, now is the time to do your presentation and do it bareface. You need to be transparent. That made sense because the messages that I am about to deliver, the messages that have been downloaded to me, are so profound, so out of this world they may seem, that I need to be transparent enough that other people can pay attention to whatever it is that I have to say. Or not just me, it's what I have to say. And so I noticed the enormity of this message was beckoning me to strip myself out of all attachments, inhibitions, what is a bit of makeup that you can't go on YouTube on screen or whatever it is with that. Why are you so attached to it? And that was the message. So after I done this first presentation, I have gone in communion with Spirit, and there is the joke, that the message that I had to give, not so much that I thought it was blocking my receptors on my skin, which are a form of our vibration, how we receive information. Of course, we get a lot of those from specialists in the field, but it was more the attachment to that thing that I had within me that I had to let go. I had to let go and find another angle on which I could now, Spirit is saying, well, yeah, it's okay for you to wear makeup. It wasn't about the makeup so much. It was about the attachment that you had to the makeup. Wow. And so even after getting this message, I feel so liberated. I have decided to do this second version, bareface and transparent. I also think that this is very symbolic in the sense of having two, that I am now marrying the ideology, not so much the ideology as well, but it's the essence of the lesson, to marry this with heart and mind within me, that it becomes bonded. Now that bond, as I say, we've been working with the sacrifice template, and this is why here, this is a B, which is also 13. When you have 1 and 3 very close together, like it was with Christ and the 12 disciples, meaning 13 at the table, they had formed a bond. Now we also know that in that bond, Judas had broken from that bond. He had broken from that. Now, even there, we see that this is the sort of feeling we need to, it's like Judas is a representation of that which we need to shed. We learn he hanged himself. He hanged, it's like hanging that element of ourselves. Let it dry rot. That is okay. And then we also learn that, of course, with the number 13, Christ, of course, was crucified. the crucifixion in itself. Crew, it's a crew. This is all coming to me now. This is all coming to me now. There's a crew that are fixed, and there's the eyes are on the crew that is fixed. Oh my. Thank you. And this is one of the things that I believe is just happening with being Bareface. Crucifixion. It's a fixed crew, fixed screw. You could say a screw as well. It's like if a screw is fixed, it has that forehead. Wow. Forehead. It has a forehead. And it has the four-pointed head. Let's think of a Phillips screwdriver, a Phillips screw. We can think of that. So the crew, C-R-E-W, which is, of course, there's no W in crucified or sacrifice or crucified. C-R-E, crucified. But of course, we understand that in the scriptures we are given the spirit of sound mind. That's what Mother Eve says. She's the mother of language. So she gives us this in Timothy, I think it's chapter 2 and verse 7. I have not given you the spirit of fear, but the spirit of sound mind. And again, we see it's 2 Timothy. It's, of course, chapter 2, as I believe, and verse 7. I believe this to be correct. If I'm not, it's okay. We can, but it's that we are given the spirit of sound mind. It's also the spirit of how something rings. It's the ring. It's about the ring going in the circle or cycles. And this is what we have here. We have 3 cycles. One cycle here, another cycle there, 369, 369, 369. These are the numbers very popular with Nikola Tesla. So I am now feeling very bliss in the sense, or blissful, bless. Now I understand the word blessed, because I had an issue with the word blessed, because trying to understand blessed was also to be less, not realizing that we need to be less to be more. It's having to shed ourselves like a snake shedding its skin itself. It shed its skin to have this to renew its skin. This is where we are at now. This is the evolution that we are merging into. And I'm stressing that it's particularly the earth signs. Why I say snake as well, of course we find the snakes are usually on the ground, and of course the earth signs are we could say the earth signs in essence are more susceptible or more knowledgeable of how to deal with the snake, or or they encounter the snake even more often. I imagine they encounter the snake very often, because they are the ones. It's like really being the ones who were tilling the ground. We understand, of course, with Adam and Eve, tilling the ground. So you are likely to encounter those creatures even more than the non. Of course, everything came from the ocean, so that's another story. But we are talking about the earth now, and what we can do to heal Mother Earth. Mother equals 7, and earth equals 7. So heart equals 7, and earth equals 7. We are required now to bring earth and heart together. This is where 14 comes into play. So 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. And that's Mother Eve. That's why Mother Eve is requiring of us to find this path, find our path, which is the 6, the sextile, meaning earth and heart need to have this sextile communication or marriage. There have to be that marriage between earth and heart. They are synonymous. You only need to change the position of what I call the ladder. The ladder is the 8. It's the 8. So ladder, H equals 8, which is the headquarter zone, I call it. So we need to change this. 8 also equals God. So we need to change our perspective of God. It's like we are told about renewing our minds. And that is like renewing or reforming our DNA. Let's just see what DNA is. DNA. So this is 154. So basically this equals 10. And that's what Taurus is about. Taurus is 10. Where's my, okay, let's do Taurus here. Taurus. We all need to get to Taurus. B9312. So there we are. So you can see this is 4 and 9 is 13 and 3 16 17 18 19. So basically Taurus is 1 9. When we add this together gives us 10, and we have, of course, a numerical value. 10 is 1. So we can see here, and in fact there's another thing I have been showing with the number 9, that 9 is actually a 0 and 1. So let's do this. Is 0 1. So if we are looking at 19, for instance, we could say this is 19. It's just that 9 is the closeness of the 1 with the 0. So we need to be going back to this point. There's a cycle. It's a cycle. We are beginning a new cycle. We are required to complete this cycle, get to the birth. 9 is birth, the 9th hour. This is where Mother Eve is there with us. And as I've always said, that Christ's story was really about bringing the message of Mother Eve, the nurturing mother. I have done numerous presentations on that. When he says, I am no man, he was saying, I am no man. Man also equals 10. But he's saying, I am woman. I am woman. Woman is 21. Now, when we add 2 plus 1, that gives us 3. He is actually saying at this stage, I am W, because that is what 3 is about. It's like, why do you want to treat me this way? I am W. Oh, okay, here's my pad. He says, I am no worm, I am no man, I am a worm. Now it is reported that he said this while being on the cross, meaning he is on the cross, he is a worm going into another dimension. And this is what is required of us. It's like, hey, I have been saying in my past presentations through my discovery about Mother Eve is the serpent. Mother Eve is not the separate thing. Mother Eve is the serpent. That's Mother Eve. The serpent, she is also the waters that God had looked upon. She is the spokesperson. She is the said God. She is the one who says, let there be light. She's the one who says, let the waters divide the waters from the waters. I have got, actually, these are eight entries that I have of her. And on the eighth entry is where she says, let us make man in our own image and likeness. And that's where, of course, because she was saying let, meaning she is the she is the governor. She's the governess, if you like. She's the both governor, governess, it doesn't matter. She is the chief. She is the one who says, she is the letting agent. She is the owner. She is letting of herself. She is shedding of herself to those other 8 gods that were around in Genesis of chapter 1. She is really, and of course, is that she, the word she. So when we see he, there has been a lot of things that has been done. It's like as if the he had been considered without the S influence, the said God, without her word on it. However, he needs to recognize that he is of she. Nothing can be said without her part of her authenticity. Because when something is said, the S has to be there. So Christ was saying he is a worm. This is 4, 9, 6, 5. And this is 15, 20, 24. So basically he was saying I am 6, which is in the middle here. This is where we say it is said when we are in Christ, you are a new creature. So I have to rewrite this, but I hope you can see them. So this is number 6 right here. So when you are in Christ, you're a new creature. This 5 here is really Mother Eve. This is the S, but of course, this is the Kundalini. When you have, you accept that S in the spinal cord, of course, with the sharp edge here, that's when you feel something is really happening here in the middle of your back. Something is happening, but she's also a representation of both male and female. So this activation of your Kundalini rise is offering you an opportunity to balance your male and female side to yourself. In essence, that's another way of looking at it. It's also giving you the opportunity to balance your good and bad. It's that repentance you go through, where you are going through the aspect of that. Now you see everything in a different light. You're not making judgments as you used to do before. So it has just been so funny that Spirit has been having this laugh with me. Now I suppose I am comical that way, and that is one way of communicating with me, to really get me to in fact, in essence, this is the sort of experience that really teaches us how much we want to do what we want to do. How far are you willing to go to do what you say you want to do? Wow. Because when I embarked upon this, and part of my journey, and even with my just before having my Kundalini activation, that was one of my commitments to myself and the spirit realm, is that I will do whatever it takes, whatever I can, to be of service to mankind for the greater good, whatever it is. So if it meant stripping my if it meant going bareface and stripping my face of makeup, why not? And in actual fact, it's not asking me to go naked, stripping my butt out. It's my face, but it shows how our face, of course, we communicate a vast amount of information through our face. And of course, so it's still it was really a big thing, but and of course I processed the video, because even after I completed the video, I still asked Spirit, should I upload the video? I suppose I was hoping Spirit would say no. You don't need to. You know, it probably was something you just needed to get out. But the answer was yes, tied with a bow. Spirit answers me in certain ways that when something is tied with a bow, it's like you can't avoid it. So back to Christ as well, when he said, I am a worm. So we are looking at 6. He's saying, I am a worm. And then I did these presentations, and I was asking, well, if you're not a worm, worm, and of course, spirit of sound was working with me. Then I was getting the message that Christ was saying, I am a warm man. That was what the exact message that came to me. Christ was saying, I am a woman. Now, woman is actually 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. Now, this is what Christ is saying. I am free. He's saying, I am free. A declaration of saying, I am free. Now, isn't that what we say when we accept Christ, we become free? Isn't that what we say? And W has the value of W. W has, which is free. W has the value of 5. So W becomes M. It becomes free. It becomes W, of course, and it is also E. And it has 8 petals. So Spirit is asking us to be 8. Be 8 in that sense of following the guidance that we have been instructed to. Be 8. Eat the fruit. Eat of the fruit. Now, I have been looking at this from an astrological point as well. Eat the fruit. Activate your Pluto, who we had cast away, because Pluto is the 9th planet. So when we say of the 9th planet, and we also add the 5 elements, which is the 5 gods. So the elements are gods. So basically, in this sense, the planets and the elements are gods. I hadn't even noticed it this way. That's what it is. So if we take, in fact, now I have to really familiarize myself with those elements and planets, which I don't think I know that much, but to understand the nature of how they really impact our lives. So you can say, okay, this is the God who is dealing with us right now, the 9th God, or of the 9 gods, and then we have the number 5, which is central. So this 5 here is central to the elements that we need to be talking about. The elements, of course, water, earth, fire, they all those elements, we need to familiarize ourselves with those elements, because they are part of helping us to also activate our pineal gland, because you need to have the sense of taste so you can eat the proper foods. You need to be able to breathe, understand the essence of breathing right, you exercising, also meditating, and the air and the water we need to drink, and all those things. So of course some people say, well, no, it's not about the 5 senses. The 5 senses are leading you onto that 6th sense that you need to activate. So that's what we were talking about. And that 6th sense that we need to activate, I am putting it back to getting that Pluto out of the underground and bringing him, scrubbing him like he would diamond. In fact, it has been said that the pineal gland is like diamond. The other thing that really reminds me as well, that Pluto, or forgive my miscalculations, but I have done what I could to rectify it on some of the presentations that I did. So Pluto, let's put Pluto in here, Pluto. And when we add the numerical value for Pluto, which is 7, 9, 3, 2, 6, is that 8 and 3 is 11 and 9 is 20 and 7 is 27. Have I done this correct? I keep 27 would be 9. Would be 9. So Pluto, Pluto. Sorry, this is 3. Right. Pluto, I think I have miscalculated Pluto about 4 times. Now that is the thing. I think while I am saying to clean Pluto as it were a diamond, this I am realizing this is the exact metaphor that is happening here. Learning to spell Pluto. It's only a 5-letter word, and I have had numerous miscalculations with it, or trying, have I done it right? It's like Pluto is talking to me now. Pluto is saying, I want you to turn me around. I want you to ensure that you are treating me right. Clean me here, clean me there. This is the way I want to be handled. You had chucked me aside, but now I want to be appreciated for who I am. And this is about self-love, which I call self-full love. So Pluto is asking, because Pluto is the resurrection, we could say. Pluto in this sense would be like Christ had gone underground and buried and has to be risen up. This is what we are getting here. Now, we were saying, I have also heard that people have compare Pluto to like a diamond. That's why it also can calcify in the brain if not activated. So it can become so hard. So this is what Pluto now is like. Pluto is on par with that pineal gland. Now here, let's check the correlation here. So now we have 8 and 6 is 14. 14 and 7, that's 21. So again, so we have 21, right? So Pluto is 3. And again, we see I have just done, this is how I mean that when I work intuitively. So I have done 3, and we see how 3 became the flower, the 8-petal flower. And now we have done Pluto, and intuitively I thought, let's put Pluto inside here. This is how I operate, and that is through spirit. And then Pluto now turns out to be 3, which is really the representation of what we are. So 8 is completion, we are told here. But we need to be birthing ourselves. There's a birthing that needs to be happening from the number 8 itself to understand. So Pluto can really maneuver. In fact, it's the birthing of Pluto that is going to be set in this dimension again. It's the rebirth. It's a rebirth that needs to happen here. And I like the lights as well. Like there were 2 eyes. This is really something with the blue and perhaps that's Pluto. Really, let's have some fun with Pluto. Yes, I've got two lights here, but it's very fascinated with the reflection now. Okay, now part of that Barefaceness as well, and as I say, I believe that I am so chosen to do this work and guided to do it, and of course my life experiences have been so profound, which I in my first volume of the Crimson Light, where I went through this rebirth as well, because it was all about this new journey, this new development. In fact, when I wrote my experiences of my Kundalini activation, and I still didn't know that the word Kundalini was associated with that experience. Well, I knew about the word pineal gland, but I didn't know the word Kundalini was really having, it was just really amazing. When someone read my book and they said, oh, but you had a Kundalini experience. And I thought, I just pretended. Or I says, well, what do you mean? Not pretended. I said, what do you mean? Well, you talked about it. I said, oh, yes, I did talk about this. Okay. Now, so one of the experiences that I have realized, by the way, just to end this, talking about Pluto, and the point I really wanted to make here, that reminds me, thank you, Spirit. So pineal, pineal, A-L, pineal, right. Now I saw this word in the Bible and it's written differently, but I'm sure it means the same, and that was in, wow. It was in, I was reading about Jacob when he was named Israel. So of course that would mean that he had, again, it is really talking about his activation. Okay, all the stories of the Bible are really about how to get to this place of spiritual elevation. So this is 9 and 7. In case you are new to numerology, all the letters have a numerical value. Okay, so there we are. 4 plus 10 is 14, and 9 is 23, and 7 is 30. So this is what I wanted to show. This equals 30. We see how Pluto, which equals 3 here, also is in direct match with pineal gland. Gland equals 2. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. And this is where, again, we are meant to concentrate to get into that new dimension. And this is where the third eye is. This is where we are instructed to go through the gods. In fact, we have the gods, and I'm sure that we can locate the gods not just in the astrological planets and so on. We can, which I'm endeavoring to do, locate the gods in the body, the gods of the Bible, the gods of division, which we could see division. Of course, there is division. We see the word bridge equals 9, so there is the bridge is here, so there is division here. So that there would be the god of division here, for instance, and the god of the god who made, of course, is the mouth, because mouth, or the word made, equals 5. So we could see the numerical values, how numerology is offering solution to identifying the gods. So the god, we have the 9s here. So 9s are in the points. Again, the 5, we have 5 9s, meaning our head, our hands, the 2 hands, the 2 feet, and the head. That equals 9. And we could see that that 9 is directly in sync with the 5 elements. So we are connecting with the elements through those 5 points, and that is actually through the 9 as well, from Genesis of chapter 1. Okay, so 5 and 9 is really interrelated, because 5 is end and 9 is beginning. there again, we tie all this together with the first word in the scriptures, which is in. When it says in, in, we are talking about 9 and 5, in. So in is 9 and 5. And we see that when we talk about Taurus in the second house, another thing that we need to be mindful of as well, the first word Mother Eve speaks is let. The first word is let, which equals 3, 5, 2. When we add these together, it's 10. Now, the first letter in Mother Eve's speech of let there be, it equals 3. So we can see how Mother Eve and Christ, when he says on the cross, I am crossing, he's like he's saying, I am crossing, I am breaking free. Now, free is W, as we say. So this W, it's as if it's the chain that you need to break from. He's breaking free from that chain. And he says, I'm going to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you may be also. You may be also. So there will be a reconnection. I hope you have found this insightful. And there is just, it's like I'm preparing how to convey some of the messages I have, which is really very profound in the sense of their revelation. There are things that I have not heard people talk about, and I am having these messages which I feel I have to honor the delivery of them. And so Mother Eve had to ensure that I would be stripped barefaced enough, and prepare myself enough to be able to do those, to be able to deliver. The other things, the other synchronistic thing that happens, which is why sometimes my focal point plays about, because before I could do this on my laptop and I would look at my face and I could see my face. So right now where I am focusing, I am just not seeing anything than a corner of a blank screen. And so this is another thing that I feel that had worked synchronistically, in the sense of getting a clearer quality of video on my phone. And that was due to the fact that on my laptop the camera became very blurry. And I was again asking myself, well, why would what does that blur means? What is it that I am meant to be seeing and not seeing? When we learn to ask the questions, because everything around us presents questions to us, the answers become very clear. So for 2 days, I was trying to work this thing out. And of course, because my phone, of course, it's much smaller to operate, and I'm just trying to get to know how to use this camera, and I think it's a little bit slower. This is all in my mind, of course, because I'm so used to doing something one way. And it would happen that while I have a camera that is much clearer, I am now given the message to go bareface. Now, isn't that something? Isn't that really something? It's like I'm under a microscope in my own mind, because I'm not in that blurred state. And so this is where it had to take a degree of courage from me to face myself bare to the outside world. Now, it wasn't unusual for me to look in the mirror and think, oh, wow, Shakti, you do look beautiful. Thank you for looking so beautiful. By the way, Shakti is also 23, which took me a while. Let's see that. You see that 23 on the wall. I had done this again intuitively because I was working on the numbers of vibration, and number 3, like I said, I saw that number 3 was so robust, and I saw the beauty of number 3 because number 3 is my my expression number, my yes, my expression number, and so I thought, well, look the beauty of it, and then I felt compelled to draw number 3, and it perhaps had taken a couple weeks or so, and then I thought, well, 3, as it seeks for companionship, it was seeking for 2 naturally, and that's what, in reference to the presentations that I have done, that's what was happening. 3 is always seeking for some, it seeks attention. Hence, we see 3 as we see with Christ when he says, I am no worm. There are 2 3s in 6. And it's like, I am woman. Notice me. I want you to accept me. That's what 3 is saying. I want you to accept me. I want you to recognize me. I want you to see me. And even if it is my expression number, yes, I'm agreeing. That's what it's about. Likewise, I want you to notice me. I want you to notice what I'm saying. I want you to hear me. That's what the YouTube channel is about. It wants to be recognized. Otherwise, what's the use of its existence? Now, if we look at the 3 the other way, let's 3 come here. We could see it reminds us of the ram, the Ra. And that's what we say. It's also that W. And it's also the 8 that has been broken. So it is the 8. It's 8 that has